What is happening, everyone? It is April 11th, 2026. You are listening and watching for the first time the Listen Man podcast. I am Anthony Spini, your host, and I am grateful to be here for the first time in video. I thought it would be appropriate to do my first video because I am going to be talking about purpose and authenticity. So, what more authentic way than to be in person? And since I just got back from workout, I figured why not? Let's just do it. And I'm really glad to be here. I've been thinking a lot about what I wanted to do for my first video content and thought about going back and touching base on some of the initial topics I covered in my first episode, which really were about my purpose and why I chose life coaching to begin with, and how I see myself helping clients and helping anyone that I come into contact with, no matter where in life or in my work. As I've said before, I'm from Pittsburgh, PA. I moved to San Diego. This is now my seventh city that I've called home at one point or another. I've done travel nursing for quite a bit of time, and throughout that time, I have found a huge um, soft spot for mental health and care of others. And I am very, very motivated and happy to be taking this step in my own journey. And as I said earlier, what better way to show a little authenticity through vulnerability and sharing with you guys a little bit of my experience here on camera and share some of my innermost thoughts. No notes today. I normally would do some audio and have things written down. Nothing today, so this is coming all from here and all in here. So I'm really excited to share with you guys more of what I've got. My purpose is something that I think about all the time, quite often. And as I was coming back the other day from home and visiting my family, I was reflecting a little bit on how my purpose has shifted, and some of the things that I've struggled with, I'd like to get into here, with one of them being how your purpose comes about and how you look at it as you grow and as you adapt in life, and how you look back on that and you think that maybe you missed the mark somewhere along the way. Maybe there were points in your life where you were failing, or you weren't able to see what your purpose was. And some of those doubts that I've had along the way, and I'm sure all of you and many of you have definitely had, um, as as I've gone along through my journey in working in healthcare as a nurse. I've been working in oncology specifically for 10 years now. I've had a lot of internal debate about what my purpose and career ultimately would become. I think probably 4 or 5 years ago, I had doubts that nursing would be my ultimate career and that was my passion. I have a deep desire to help others, and I am very motivated to assist anyone that I have a skill that they can benefit from, which, if I'm looking at my overall life and skills, I think the biggest impact I've ever had would be times where I'm able to get vulnerable with people, listen to some of their deepest fears, wants, desires, and share anything that they've struggled with. Hence why I chose Listen Man as my name. Listening is probably my top skill that I pushed away for a long time. I felt the need to try and force my words a lot, try and speak up, which is important. And your verbal is a way that obviously you connect. Communication is a two-way street. It's back and forth, give and take. But often enough, we don't play to our strengths. And as I said, my biggest strength has always been listening. It's been paying attention, it's been being present with people. And as people share their vulnerabilities, most important thing you can do is let them know through your nonverbal that you're paying attention, that they're important, that they have your full attention, that they're worth your time. And as a coach, I think and maybe the first thing and the most important thing throughout your time with clients is rapport. When a client, or let's just look at life, when a person doesn't feel like you're giving them your full attention, they have a lot of doubt and they lack trust in you. And they ultimately wonder if they need to find it out in the conversation, leave the room, whatever is going on. And the way that we build rapport is eye contact through showing your hands, showing your intentions, facing them, being present with them, and ultimately being on their level. If I was doing this podcast standing up and I had my camera way down here like this, you guys would not that'd be weird, right? If I was standing in the back of my room or standing in the corner, or if I was looking over here, not making any eye contact with you, there would be a huge disconnect between us. So some simple ways of how we can show that we're connected to one another: eye contact, hand placement, hands here, not closed, open body language, showing that we're open to what the other person has to share. And the three things: feet, torso, and your eyes. So fronting. As we build rapport with individuals and as we build our client relationships or personal relationships, as we go along and as I go along, one of the next thing that I focus a lot of my energy on is being their biggest supporter and encouraging them that they have everything within them that they need, that all I'm providing them is my presence, is mirroring, is reflecting back to them what they already are capable of. Anything that a client brings or that anyone in our life brings to us as a friend, as a coworker, as someone that we just run into on a day-to-day basis or occasionally, being with them and showing them that they've already showed up with everything that they need coming through the door. We're not giving them anything new. We might show them a different side. We might provide them a outlook that they weren't looking at, a perspective that they didn't know they had and were capable of. That's what we're doing. We're showing them that they're capable. And as people, that's one of my biggest personal values is, one, my presence, two, giving people encouragement that they're capable. That's one of my core principles as a coach and as a human being, that we're all capable. We all have our answers deep down within us, and it's up to us to find those. But it also takes help. It takes others to be alongside of us, walk alongside of us, be there, mirror it back to us. So that's probably the second thing that I find is one of my strengths, is being an encourager. And after that, where I have struggled, but I found that people really relate to, is vulnerability. Sometimes as a professional, whether as a coach, as a nurse, or anytime that you're trying to show someone that you've got value, we often find that we need to completely erase all of our imperfections. We can't show any of our weaknesses. Totally wrong way about going about it. People find comfort in knowing that someone is similar to them. We find that that person also had to go through struggles. That's someone that I can learn from because they didn't have a perfect road. They didn't have everything mapped out. They weren't um, a golden child, or life didn't come easy for them. I can learn from them because I walk that path as well. We all have similarities, and finding ways that we're similar builds trust. It builds rapport. And one of the skills that I've been able to curate within myself with encouragement of others is being completely open. As a man, especially as a man who's trying to show others that I'm capable of helping them, having to build self-trust within myself, I've struggled with being personable on that level because how can I show someone that they need to come to me and they should trust me with their money, with their mental health, with their help? Looking at it completely backwards, as we often do when we're trying to build connection with others. If we're not open, we'll never we'll never have room for someone to come into our life, into our circle, into our practice. If we've got the doors completely locked down and we're not allowing anything in because we're trying to show that we're strong and that we're impenetrable, people might be drawn to that initially, but you're going to attract the wrong people. You're going to have people that want to envelop the same kind of false bravado that ultimately people, it's not a good thing. Trying to fake who you are and trying to show the world that nothing bothers you and that you're perfect and you have it all figured out. Again, you'll make some false friends, you make some real enemies for sure, and you're going to have a lot of faking and lying to keep up because we all go through struggles. We all go through moments that make us vulnerable, make us cry, make us weak, where we rely on others for help. And so being vulnerable, being open, again, especially as a man, that's been something that's taken time and taken a lot of work to, not for me, open up. I've always been open, but for me to be able to share in an authentic way for me, but also a way that's controlled and that's got my emotions um, coming forward in a way that's not erratic, because people also don't want you to just open up the floodgates and completely just throw everything at the kitchen sink. Especially being a practitioner, being a coach, you really need to be able to compartmentalize and take your lessons that you've learned along the way and be able to transfer them while being vulnerable at the same time. And my last and most important aspect of me that I found in my purpose is to love. And being a professional, whether that's a nurse, still currently, whether that's being a coach, or again, I always go back to being a human being. I don't define myself by my career. When people ask what I do, I tell them this is what I do as a passion. This is what I do for work. This is not who I am. I never say I am a nurse. I work as a nurse. I work as a coach. I help others with my attention, with my coaching, because your personality, your habits, your purpose, and ultimately who you are is not what you do. Now, you can make it that, but you're going to find yourself very, very limited, and you're going to find yourself having a really hard time disconnecting what you do with who you are, especially when you're trying to relax, when you're trying to do other things socially, personally, and intentionally in the world. I think one of the things that I have had to really work on that probably was a natural gift, but something that I had to really curate and focus on. Again, takes a lot of work, guys. It's not something that happens overnight, as I'm still a work in progress right now. I've had to understand that my want to help other people must come. And this is anything you're doing. This is any way that you're connecting with people. This could be a tip for dating. This could be a tip for making friends, family. You must realize that what you have to give does not have to be accepted. Others may turn down your gift and what you want to give. The hard part is when you feel so compelled to help other people and they don't want to accept what you have to give, maybe in the help period or in the way that you're giving it. They might connect better with somebody else. Now, when you're someone that works in self-help, mental health, healthcare, any of those backgrounds, as I have, and as maybe if you're listening, you do, or if you don't, that's totally fine. But we can all resonate with the fact of and people in our lives that struggle when their help is not wanted. I know, again, going back to me as a guy, we find a lot of purpose in our need to be needed, being being wanted, asking for my help. That's something that really energizes me, and I ultimately sit back on and kind of am listening when someone's having a conversation. If I overhear them, at the bar or at a restaurant, and I'm kind of like peeping around, when I hear a conversation that comes up with around mental health or healthcare. But we have to all kind of tame ourselves when we realize that that person hasn't asked for my help. They may not want my help. And if they do, here's my business card. Here's my website. If you see me online on TikTok, if we have a conversation, that's a different story. But people have to be willing and have to want to be helped. Again, they're capable, just as anyone's capable of reaching out and asking for help. Now, it gets tricky when there are people that may need, and again, this is our interpretation. They may need saved from themselves. They may need someone to reach out and say, "Hey, you do need help." And again, that's more on a friend line. That's professional as a barrier that I have is not telling people you need help, buddy. It's not going to work. Especially again, men typically are a little more guarded when being told what to do. Um, and as someone that has a tendency and has a want to care for others, that can be hard because you have this desire and you have this energy, guys. Energy wants to move. Energy does not want to stay stagnant, does not want to stay stuck. Energy wants to flow, energy wants to move. So when you have a gift that, like love, that is something that you want to share with others, it's really hard to hold on to it and keep it to yourself. And that's probably the work that I've had to really, really work on is keeping with that masculine energy of I want to help, I want to give, I want to share, but also that more feminine of calm, peace, go with the flow, allow. That's really important because that's also where you build trust with other people. If you're constantly forcing yourself on other people as far as advice and your words, conversation, whatever, again, you'll attract a certain crowd. You're not going to likely maintain you're not going to be helping people in the long run because you're going to be stealing their aha moments. You're going to be stealing their needs to worry about themselves. We all, again, while we need help from other people, we cannot force feed people their own lessons. Okay. Because eventually it's going to come around where they're used to, as children, they're used to having someone do it for them, that they don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't know how to self regulate, how to monitor their feelings, their thoughts, their words. And being someone that's able to sit back, relax, and be ready to give, but also have the patience and the confidence that my help is, I can help. My help is wanted and will be utilized in the right way. That takes patience, that takes confidence, and sometimes it is really tough. And as I conclude, I want to thank you guys very much for listening to me and hopefully watching this. I am again really excited to be doing this, and I look forward to helping so many people. As I my career is, again, as I've said, in some early stages, and that doesn't mean I'm unable to help. The stage that I'm going through as I work through my early stages of my career is, some of the imposter syndrome, some of the, I'm not a brand name, and I've talked about it in one of my earlier podcasts with what is success, and having that inner confidence and that feeling that I've got something worthwhile. I've got something that I can help the world. I have to keep curating that, and I've got to continue to have people like you share my content and share my name, share my business card if you have it. And that's where I need help. And I'm relying on you to share my videos, to share my content, share anything that might be able to help someone who may have sought help, or maybe he does need a tap on the shoulder. Maybe you are their friend who you can say, hey, maybe you can work with someone like Anthony, who has time, who has a passion, and who has training to be able to make a difference in your life, because that's something that's really important to me. And I know that there's people out there that will greatly benefit from me. And again, I just want to thank you guys for listening. Here I am a little bit rambling on now, but I really do enjoy this. And remember, guys, what you say does matter. Your words can make a huge difference in people's lives, can make the difference in literally their lives and in their days. Mean what you say what you mean, but remember to listen, man.